All right, so I start off by starting from high level. Essentially, this is my favorite model ever. This one, very simple, and it tells the whole story. So here you are. You have nature, the environment. That is the big thing, okay? The big thing. And the economy is king. This simple model only became accepted by economists not long ago, in the 80s or so. Before this economist thought the economy is the thing and the environment is just some small thing sitting on the corner where you go take what you want, right? But we quickly realize that everything we do is enclosed in nature, all right? So you can think of this as the ocean also. And what you know, the first arrow there, take the things we need for the economy, for social culture, the resources, good stuff we take from the ocean, just if we limit ourselves to the ocean. So we take all the fish into the economy, and we do all the stuff we do with things. And what do we do? In that process, we produce waste. And where do the waste go? They go to the environment. So from the environment, good things come. To the environment, bad things go, right? So, and if you want to do this sustainably, you better decide how best to take this. Because if you take, you can lose it, right? If you overtake, you can lose it. If you overfish, the fish can go, and some fishes have been depleted. So you have to do this wisely. And it's the same thing with the waste. If you keep pumping too much waste in your ocean, plastic, you've heard about plastic. By the time you finish, there will be only plastic in the ocean, there will be no fish, right? Or CO2, climate change, that kind of thing. So this model actually captures a lot. And if you have this as the framework, all your works fit into this kind of thing. It's people and nature and our interaction. So I like the model. There was a time I gave a talk about sustainable ocean fisheries, and somebody came to me after that and said, why do you care? Why do you care? We can farm all the fish we need in one high-rise building in Holland. High-rise building in Holland. Why Holland? It turns out that they do quite a bit of animal husbandry in buildings in Holland, pigs. But that person doesn't understand this. Because the high-rise building will not give you the inputs, right? Something has to go in to make the fish. You need the water, you need what fish, you need whatever. And after all is said and done, a high-rise building is not just going to make all the waste vanish, right? You got to get the waste out. Otherwise, they'll take over the high-rise building, right? And in Holland, one of the problems is they have is where to dispose the waste of the pigs. The pig, for example, produce a lot. So you just can't get away from this in the long run. We're very creative, we're innovative, you can improve that. This thing always hits you at some point. So that's the first point I want to make. And in economics, we say that people who deal with how to take things from the ocean are resource economists. So I'm a fisheries economist. I look at how society takes the fish, what it does with it, how it uses it to meet our needs, whether well or not well. So that's resource economics. And the other side is what you would normally call environmental economics. So people who do deal with CO2 emissions and all that, pollution and all that, are actually, if you wanted them again, what we call environmental economics. But most of us do both. Then you have ecological economics. We all fit into this framework somehow. All right? So, number one. Second thing I thought we should do, just knowing that there's just one of you class in grade who has economics degree. From yesterday, maybe a new person has come who is an economist. I thought I should put out a few concepts, common concepts in economics. This is far from the supply and demand, very important. Most things obey the laws of supply and demand. If you are scarce, you are usually very valuable. In economics, right? You can be useless, just make sure you are scarce. See the joke? Air is very important to us, and I think Bev talked about that, how the difference between economics and ecology is that your value is not about your usefulness. It's not about it, it's about how the market plays with you. So a basketballer, one of them earns more than 1,000 professors a year, right? That's what the market pays. Are they more useful than 1,000 professors? So supply and demand really is important. And that links to scarcity we just talked about. So if you want to win $100 million lottery, you know what you do? You do the one thing that nobody else does. Then you are the winner. You can find it, right? Because it's equal to one, right? You have one number, so if you can do agent modeling and pick out the one thing that nobody does, you will be the $100 million winner. It's about that. So, and how many of you have heard about the invisible hand? Invisible hand. Yes? Yeah. My God, this thing is running the world. I don't know about it. Who made this popular? Who brought this to the world? Adam Smith, right? Adam Smith, that's one of the things he's well known for, but actually he's done a lot of things. He's a philosopher. Adam Smith is probably the most famous economist in the world. He's a Scottish guy. He's from where? So I actually went to his grave while I visited his city. What was his city? It's not Aberdeen, but it's another important Scottish city. Glasgow, another important one. Edinburgh, yeah. His grave is there. They are very smart. They are still making money out of Adam Smith. Good to see. So he came up with this idea, and all he's saying is that if you allow the market to do its thing, we will all be better. Or if you allow individuals to do what is in their best interest, all of society will be better off. And so this actually drives a lot of the conservatism you see around the world. If you look at it deeply, actually, it's not true. This is not true all the time. Otherwise, why would we want it? If all that we do will help everybody, why do we want to manage the system? So that's something to note. Then there's the concept of opportunity cost. Yeah? Can somebody help us? Let's be a bit interactive. When I say opportunity cost, what comes to your mind? I want to hear from the non-economists. Opportunity cost. What is that? Very important. No? Yes, sir.
Could it be the value put on a certain item or commodity that if you had the opportunity to go to it or buy it, then that would be the price of it? Like the price that you put on it in order to get it?
Yeah, okay. There is some correctness in that. There is the cost for God, he says, what is for God? The cost for God. So essentially, they've touched on it, but if you want to know the opportunity cost of you guys being here, right? By being here now for this lecture, you have revealed to me as an economist that this is the most valuable thing you could have done with your one at all. In all the alternatives you have, this is the most valuable thing you could have done with your hour. Now some of you will start rethinking this. But by being here, that is what I impute from you as an economist. You came here willingly. You could have been everywhere, you could be sleeping, whatever, or swimming in the pool, maybe you choose to be here. So for an economist, that is your most valuable use of this time. And that is opportunity cost. Because if you were not here, the next most valuable thing would be what you would use your time. Right? So that's opportunity cost. And he says it's the cost for more or the value for more. If you do one thing, that means you can do other things with that same resource, price, time, or money. And that is really the foundation for economic cost, real cost in economics. All right. Incentives. You know, Beth and I, we agree a lot. Almost all her lecture last one was about incentives. You know, agent pays. You know, why do you do what you do? Why do you do illegal fishing and so on? Economics is based on incentives. How do you design institutions and incentive schemes so that people will do what society collectively thinks is a good thing, right? So incentives are important. Division of labor. Somebody wants to help you. What concept is that? Division of labor. Division of labor. Some of us are teachers. Some of us are hotel managers, right? So division of labor this actually came before the Industrial Revolution. Who was talking about Paul? You talk about the climate revolution. I told you your take on that was really cool, right? Instead of seeing dealing with climate issues as a problem, he says it's an opportunity. Let's create a revolution to deal with this problem. And the Industrial Revolution was actually powered by this idea of division labor and comparative advantage. The whole thing is, if you're good at something, do that thing only, because then you'll be more productive. And if everybody does that, we will be in a better place. So that's it. Comparative advantage and division of labor. So that's how they started making factories. You see one person, they just putting a little dot on some commodity passing through, right? The production line. That's the whole idea. It looks like a good idea. Do you all like it, or can you see a problem with this idea of division of labor? Does it make sense to you, or not? Say something. You're all economists, I tell you. Yeah. Yeah, good. Okay, that's an economist. It's not like that specifically. I never said it was like that specifically, right?
Yeah, because the best example is to take one country that is good, that is best in everything. And then you said, because he's best in everything, he's going to go over the market in all the things that he produces. But it's not, because they are going to produce in the things that they are bester, for saying something, compared to the others.
Yeah.
And then those other things that they are good, that they are best, but they are not so much best because they're relative.
Absolutely.
That is the one that they are not going to produce.
Yeah.
And that is where back up the free trade is, because there's always going to be a winners. It's a win-win situation, because no matter how best you are going to specialize. Always.
Okay. So actually that is the thing about comparative advantage. So it's where you are the best of the best, right, in what you do. So if you're good at teaching and you're good at cooking, but you're better at cooking than you're at teaching, that is why you do. So that's why it is comparative, right? So it's not. Yeah? All right. Yes.
Isn't it like it brings alienization together, because if we are working on the small part of the whole, we cannot see the whole, and we cannot know where you are standing exactly. So you can become more alienated. What you are doing. You give some effort, but you don't know where your effort stands within the whole. So it is not your work exactly.
Yeah, I like it. All that you do every day is to put the pig on a little toy. Can you imagine how you made it into a little machine? You don't have an overview, you don't. So that is the disadvantage of this. And another disadvantage, which I think is really a powerful one, if you are in a static world, this may work. But if you are in a world where there is a potential for improvement, this is a terrible thing, really. Think about it. So you start off, you are a farmer's kid, right? All you've done as a kid is to go to the farm. And you'll be good at farming. But if you're thinking 20, 30 years ahead, do you want to really remain following the cows? And you want to go to school, right? So in the dynamic sense, this can be a terrible thing because we just, like you're frozen. This is your talent now, just do. You see what I'm saying? It will not be good at all.
I would like to ask you something.
Do this for a whole day. This is my second slide.
We are talking about some important economic concepts and ideas, and I agree with that poster that says size matters. I would like to ask you to have a contrast between small-scale fisheries and commercial fishing in terms of that idea. And let me say that Daniel Pauly said that small-scale fisheries of the world suitably governed, especially in developing countries, are still our best hope for the sustainable utilization of coastal resources. I will ask you an opinion about that.
Yeah, okay. Do you know that Daniel Pauly is one door away from me or two doors? so you know, the thing about that's one thing which could have been here, right? It's talking about the economies of scale, right? You know, there is a whole concept about economies of scale, where at some point if you start small and you get bigger, in general, your unit cost of production drops, right? So it's an economic of scale if you keep growing, but clearly you can overgrow. It's like everything, right? There is an optimal size for anything you do, right? It's a simple concept that we all know. Too much of everything is bad, right? So in fisheries, essentially, you could, if you have only a line and this thing, and you go and fish like that, then it's good to get a little boat, right? So, but then if you become like the Atlantic Dawn, is that the name of the big boat that people have said can swim? They can take the catches of about 10,000 African boats in a day or something like that. Then you are going crazy. And that is the kind of thing Paulo is talking about. Probably with overdone the big is better, you know. So economics of scale is a concept. There are many good concepts that are not here. Thank you for bringing that up. Okay. So marginal, I say the marginal revolution. This is a very important concept. Economists always like to operate at the margin, at the margin of things. Because if you are at the margin, usually you are optimizing something, right? And what do we mean by that? Marginal cost, right? Marginal benefit. So I wish this time, I don't know. We have to move. But the whole idea is usually in economics, if you want to maximize your profit or your objective, you set your marginal benefit to be exactly equal to your marginal cost. If you are able to pick out that point, then you are doing the best you can. Right? Because if it is otherwise, either you are leaving money on the table or you are incurring too much cost. So that is the whole thing. And when this concept was coined, it actually revolutionized economics. You know, it's nice to have a theory that kind of solves all problems. You can laugh now, you know, or at least some problems. So that is what I call the marginal revolution. If any of you is interested, we can talk more about this because it's such an important concept. Supply and demand, for example. Where will the price be? The price will be, the market clearing price will be at a point where the marginal cost of producing the last unit of what you're doing is exactly equal to the marginal benefit you get. Then you are there. Otherwise, you are not optimal. So that's important. Taxes and subsidies. Important concepts. Those of you who follow my work, I spend a lot of time with a group at UBC talking about fishery subsidies. Subsidies are money just transferred by governments to a sector, in this case fisheries, right? And taxes, you all know taxes. I think everybody here pays taxes. Is there anyone who doesn't pay tax? No. No, so that's the opposite of subsidies, right? And they have got solid roots in economics. You give subsidies when there is an activity in the economy that adds value above the private value somebody gets. I don't know whether this makes sense. So if you have a nice garden by your house flower garden, and people are going to work, they pass by, they see it, they love it, they feel good about it. You are giving them value, you don't charge them for enjoying your flower, your garden. That is a nice thing. And you want the neighborhood to have nice flowers, right? So you could say, we encourage people, that's an incentive thing. We give you subsidies if you have a beautiful flower bed at your house. But if you have rubbish, charge you taxes, that kind of thing. So there are situations where you want society's money to support activities and situations where you tax because they are not good for society. Illegal fishing or overfishing, you don't subsidize overfishing, you tax it because it's not something we want. Right? So that's the whole idea. This can go on forever. Any comment before I move on? Very simple economics 101. Yes. So let's see, what do I have? Now, the economic approach. Many of us ask the question, why do people behave in ways that cause environmental destruction? Why do you do that? We all know it's not good. It's not good to pollute. But people do it. And if you ask people why people do it, you have many people who say, oh, it's because those people are unethical. They're immoral. Right? They don't play. So that's the kind of reasons you get from sociologists and anthropologists or other social sciences. But if you ask the economists, they will just tell you that it's the way society is structured, the institutions are set up. It pays for people to do this, right? So if you can overfish and get away, or fish illegally and get away with it, you will do it. So we need to fix the incentive structure. There is a study that I like citing by John Sitterman. He's a retired fisheries economist at the University of Rhode Island. He checked the fisheries activities in the Boston area, and what he found was very interesting. About 10% of the population of fishers will not cheat, no matter what. Whether there is control, monitoring, police pressure, now they don't cheat. So they fit in the top one. It's just wrong to fish illegally. I don't do it. That's 10% of the population. At the other end, you have about 10% also. If you put them in chains, they'll still cheat. This is just, you can have a policeman following them, they'll still take that. So that's 10%. And the 80% actually think the way the economy is run. You sit and make some calculations. This is worth the while to go in. What would be the benefit, what would be the gain? And that was quite nice. You almost see it in many places. So if you have 10%, those who don't, and you have economies that deals with 80%, you can forget the 10%. Yeah. So incentives are important. And when we talk about incentives, it's not just about money. In many ways you can give incentives, right? You know that it's not all about money. Money is important, but it's not important. That's what this is. Say, if I have time, I will ask you for examples of that. Okay. Show you that. So in terms of fisheries economics or natural resource economics, a lot of our work is how to understand how the incentives work, processes, what drives people to do what they do, and that then kind of gives you an idea what kind of systems can you put in place to try to take care of this. Why do people overfish? It's economically viable. It's good to overfish. There is no one watching. You are not arrested. And even when you are arrested, the court will say, what has the guy done? It's just one fishing, go home, no penalties. Then, if you want to fix illegal fishing, you have to do something about it. So this is a key thing that we spend time on. All right. Now, overfishing. Let's get to the one. Classical management problems. Overfishing is very rampant. Very few argue with this, right? At least not globally. You can always find a fishery that is doing well. But overfishing is quite... and this is because there's overcapacity. It's just too many of us who want to catch fish that nature is not capable of providing. And this leads to low profits or even negative profits. this leads to poverty in the fishing communities. And this forces our governments to give subsidy, right? You know, to try to keep them going. So, and the nice thing about this is our basic bioeconomic models actually predict all of these things. You can get a lot from simple models, and Beth, you stress that a lot. In fact, you should use the least effort to get the best results, right? That's economics again. But so simple models can tell you. I'll show you a simple model that economists used in the mid-50s to actually show and explain why this is happening all over the place. The thing is, overfishing is actually rational. Rational people will overfish, everything being equal. Economically rational. If you're just thinking about me, what you will do is to overfish. Why? Can anybody explain? Or agree or disagree? Yes, no. It's not. It's the guy behind you. I thought he was raising his hand. So the whole idea is if you have a fish stock that is shared by many people, and your goal is to maximize your own benefit, you will compete, you run to catch the fish before the next person. And so you lead to this. So it's rational, but it's silly, rational. And this is an example of where Adam Smith was completely wrong, right? If you allow people to just do what they want with nature, and that will go fishing or harvesting of forests and so on and so forth. Because the only way you can deal with that is for people to work cooperative. Find a way to design incentives that makes people work cooperative. Alright? Now, so a few issues and concepts is natural resource economics. Economists see natural fish as natural capital. But in the broad sense, some of us are really looking at this in the broad sense. Not just the fish you catch and sell in the market. There are no market values, there are spiritual values. Whatever value people put on their fish, you need to take care of it through analysis if you're comprehensive, right? Because remember, economists are very democratic actually. Some people think they're crazy. Because it's all about what people want, right? What people need and want and so on. So you have to include all the values people put on their fish. And it's a common property resource, right? In general, almost all fish are shared by more than a person. I haven't seen one system which is owned by only you, right? Do you have a fish habitat that is all yours? Yeah, it's usually shared. So there's this common property nature. I said yesterday, fish don't need visa, right? When they're going to Schengen, they don't need Schengen visa. They just go in, right? So it's common property, and that is a problem. Usually, it leads to what economists call externalities. And simply put, what I do affects you, what you do affects me. When I do what I do, I don't think about the effect on you. That's an externality, right? And this can be positive or negative. The flower bed is a positive externality. I do it for myself, but many people enjoy. Great. That's a positive effect. The negative one is when I throw all my rubbish in the ocean, that then kills the system and other people don't get the fish they want from the system. That is a negative externality. And that leads to what people have called the tragedy of the commons. This is usually attributed to, what's his name? Gary Hardin, right? But there is a Danish here, no Danish. Is there a Danish in this room? Yes. Swedish? Yeah. Whenever you say Gary Hardin and there's a Danish fisheries economist, they say, no, it's actually not him. He wasn't the first one who did it. It was Warming who talked about it in 1911. And Gary Hardin did it in the 50s. But the problem for Mr. Warming is that he wrote this thing in Danish, right? He wrote it in Danish, so nobody knows it outside of Denmark. So Gary Hardin picked it. Write your papers, even if you write in your local language, please translate. Get into the English well, because that is the academic language if you want broad readership. So because of the common property nature, because fish is valuable, it's common property, you have externalities, that is why you need regulation. that is why the invisible hand will not do it here. Because it will compete and kill everything, right? And so, and time is important when you deal with this, actually. Because what you do today affects what happens to the fish and to the fishery tomorrow. So now, yeah, this is something you know. So I want to talk about this life as stocks and flows. In Beth's talk this morning, she actually went outside the ocean. She wasn't talking only about fish, or she talked about the brain and all sorts of things, social issues. And that is what a model are. And that's what we hope you can do. You should be able to take what you have learned and go and model anything. People ask me, do you do forestry? I say, what does it matter? I mean, if I put my growth rate in the fish model to 0, I have a 3. Right? Did you get the point? So I say this and the fishery biologists want to kill me. I mean, as an economist, my computer doesn't know whether it's fish or tree. If I define the equations to mimic what the tree does, then it is fine, right? So you can model the whole of life, just thinking in terms of stocks and flows. And elements in the system are either stocks and flows. So you can reduce anything in life that is dynamic into stocks and flows in your model. Very simple, right? So the water tank we play around with is actually a model of life. And the stocks are accumulations. So you know this. You take a fishery, what is the biomass in there today, now? Or you take a population, what are our skills today, now, right? But then you have the flow in, the inflows, and the outflows, and that is what determines. So actions of flows being accumulated in stocks is the cause of all dynamic behavior in the world. Isn't that cool? This is why I love science. You cannot refute this statement. Isn't that powerful? All things in life that are dynamic have stocks and then have flows. Otherwise, you are not dynamic, you are not alive. This thing will sit here forever if there's no, push or pull. Right? So all your modeling work actually fits this. And I think for an interdisciplinary group, this is the kind of thing we hope when you live here, this will be with you for all your life. Right? You can model it, provided you can reduce them to some flows. And so the accumulations, they give a snapshot of reality. Their value tells us how the system is doing. And stocks have memory. They have memory, which implies they do not change instantaneously. They change only through the actions of flows with time. That's why this will sit here forever. If you want to argue with me about this, let's try. If Latin touches it, it will be there. All right? So remember that only. And the flows, they are the action variables. It's where things happen, right? So if you are managing the fishery, it's important to know what your action variables are. Because these are the things you can manage, right? You've heard the saying, we manage people, not fish, right? You've heard that? Fish can take care of themselves. Leave them alone, they'll be fine. It's when people go there, that is when the problem comes. So you manage the flows, right? So without flows, stocks will never change. There will be no dynamism in life. Life will be too boring, isn't it? And it will be static forever. No, we don't like that. We need some dynamism, okay? Right. Now, getting into the modeling part of fisheries, and I'm talking bioeconomics here because you have to model the biology and the economics together. That's how you get bioeconomics, right? So you have to model the fish biomass, and these are variables that determine your flow, right? How much new fish are coming in? That's the flow in, right? How many of them are dying off, right? Naturally. That's the flow out of the system. Fishing mortality will tell you something about that. How much fish are we taking? So fish vanish from the storm. 1, because they die naturally, and 2, because we kill them. right? These are the only two ways. And we can kill them directly by taking them out, or by putting plastic that they swallow and die, right? So there is all those human-induced mortalities that happen. So the fishery is simply the coupling of nature and people. This is nothing new. That's why we need a group like this, interdisciplinary. We share economics, and when it comes to social science, and when it comes to climate science, biology, and together we understand the system better. Right? Now, and to do this, you have to have some objective. To do bioeconomic modeling, you have to have some objectives. What do you want to achieve? And when I look at fisheries policies around the world, these are the components I see in there. In fact, I think almost every government or every country says that they want to have sustainable fisheries. I haven't seen any government that says we want to exterminate our fish. Have you seen that before? So you want sustainability of your system. And if you want, you can try. You want to run for president, just go out and say, I want our ocean to be dead, right? You see what will happen. So this is in there. And naturally, we all want economic viability and profitability. You want to be able to add value. You want to employ people. You want people to have income. And that's the social side. There are cultural, traditional stuff that we want. So there are lots of things we want, and that's where trade-offs come, right? So you have to find a way to do this. And so that would guide the modeling. That is your objective. In general, many fisheries economies, the traditional ones, will say we just want to maximize dollars. Right? And so, yeah. So you can go into detail. This is what we've been talking about. To do the modeling, you have to really find a way to capture all these things, right? The natural mortality, how climate change affects them. I say ecological details. That's an economist talking. All the other things ecologists care about, we put them in that detailed box. And then the economic side tells you how you do the catching of the fish, fishing mortality. So the catch is important. And all the other things we do, the pollution, the things we pump out. And then you look at economic rent is another important concept in fisheries economics. It's the technical jargon, as I see. It's simply the net benefit of the activity. I think if you see it that way, you are safe. So you find how much do I make? How much does it cost me to make that? The difference is what we call economic rent, very simple. And then employment is always important. So have your biology, you have the economics. So now, what I'll do is to show you the basic static model of the fishing. How many people have seen the golden shifter model before? Yeah, time is always good. And you see Lisa is up there telling you, reminding me about time, so we got to rush through this, okay? So essentially, the biology, we use a logistic model, and your aim, maximize profit, like I said, as a start, and then you just go there. So this figure, if this is the only thing you remember, 5 years after this course, I'm happy. Okay. So this is the model I was talking about in shape for 1950. So it puts the whole fishery, both the economics and the biology, in a simple graph like this. It's crazy. But this is the beauty of science. Many people go after this model, but so far it is still standing, you know. They try to take it down, and it's not easy to take down. So here you have fishing effort, how much fishing effort you take out, both in the people and the technology. Anything that helps you to catch the fish is kind of called fishing effort, you know. Find a way to normalize that. It could be fishing, number of hours fishing a day, there are many ways you can do this, okay? Then here you have total revenue and total cost. So this is dollars, this is money. So you take out a boat to do fishing and you earn something, and it costs you something to do that. Now, the whole of the biology is captured in this logistic model. It simply tells you if you look at the extremes, if you have no fish, there's no fish. And that's the simplest. So always start your model by looking at the ends. It's really revealing. No fish. There'll be no growth. There's no fish. That's the easiest model you can do, right? Yeah. Then you look at here. How about if there's so much fish in there, there's no space, there's no food, there's no sunlight, they're sitting on each other, right? And there will be no growth. Right? Even if a new fish comes, one will have to die, right? Because it's just no space. That's the carrying capacity in biological terms. And here you have the maximum growth you can get from this particular fish species. Maximum sustainable yield, biologists will have. And then here you have the maximum economic yield, which is the level at which you make the most money. The difference between the cost of fishing, which is simply represented by this line, and the revenue, which is the catch that you get times the price, right? So the difference between here and here is the largest. That means you are making the most money from the system. Here you are catching the most fish, tonnage, and here you are actually using the most effort. Because then at this point, the money you make and the cost match exactly. So the marginal revenue and the marginal cost are equal at this point. And so it doesn't make sense to go out with more boats, because if you do that, your cost is here. What you get is that you don't want to do that. If you're an economist, you don't do it. Right? And if you stay here, see, there's money to take home. You don't want to do that, you have to do more. That's why this is the place you will be if you don't get subsidies from the government. But if the government is paying your fuel subsidies, for example, your fuel cost, that can change this graph to that, which means you can go out with more, because this gap is filled by government. Right? So that's why we don't like subsidies that encourage it. Just pushes the thing. Already here, for most countries, they're in trouble at this point. It's just too much. So that's the basic model of the fishery. We call this the bioeconomic equilibrium. That's the open access equilibrium. That is where the world's fisheries will go without regulation. They'll all keep fishing until there's no money to be made. And by then, for most crops, it's over. Right? That's why we have fishing. And if you want to maximize, this is the effort at maximum sustainable yield. And actually, most countries in the world actually aim for this. It tells you the influence of biologists. They aim for that in almost all papers. But economists argue for this. And countries like Australia, I think, has actually moved from year to year. So we want to make the most money out of that. So this is a very important model. And one thing to notice, economists are advocating for less fishing effort than biologists. So when they did this in 1954, they published the paper. One of the big things is, economists are more conservationists than biologists, right? We need more fish in the ocean than biologists. Can you imagine that? That was a big number. The biologists were shocked. Okay. So this is a key one, please. Any questions on this? Because I'm going very fast. The carrying capacity, yeah, here. If I had biomass here, because I'm talking economics, so I have fish in there. The carrying capacity is the maximum load you can put in the system in terms of amount of fish in the ocean. So if you get to a point, if you put in more fish, there's no room. So it's like this room, right? Imagine we get another 100 people to join us here. We'll start sitting on each other. Some of us will suffocate. So that's the thing, right? So it's a question of the space as it's made.
It's controlled by the source inside
Of the ocean.
of the ocean.
Yes, and also the chemistry. It's also controlled by the environmental, ecological loss of parameters there, actually. And that's one thing that climate change, for example, can affect.
Okay.
Or your carrying capacity shrinks. You remember my last graph where the fish was moving. So there the carrying capacity moves to zero for fish. It's not livable, mainly because of temperature or chemistry physics changes. So it's very important.
Very good.
I'm sure Lisa will give me a few more details. this.
Maybe going one step further. The revenues of the fisheries are actually spread. We're talking about small state fisheries are spread usually among a lot of people.
More people.
It's not the case with the industrial fisheries.
Yeah.
So my question is how much attention is paid in these bioeconomic models to how the wellness of the fisheries is distributed among those fisheries?
Very good question. It's talking about distribution of what you get, and there's nothing about it. This is a global model. We have a fishery. We assume everybody is the same or not the same. You just wonder what is large, what is the maximum for the whole system. And many of us are saying this doesn't tell half the story. You need to go inside, to go deeper, check small scale, large scale. The distribution of benefit is important too. But before now, economists will say, that's not my job. I help you to make the largest cake, and you divide the cake politically. But economists like you are saying, making the cake and how you divide it are not completely separate, right? So there's a lot. This doesn't. This is really the most basic model. If you go into details, Michael, and this is static, right? I'm thinking of time.
No, you can keep going. We'll break for lunch after you.
Fantastic. Oh, what a nice.
It's easy to start with the whole
Thank you. Let's have more fun. This guy's economics is great, isn't it? If it is used properly, right? It's like everything. People tell me, my God, you say this damn profession because you bring people in. You talk about real people. Most economists just talk about the dollars, right? So now this picture here is another representation of the flows and stocks taken after in economic terms and in biology. I tell you, this is essentially all the model you need. One page of slide, you have everything in there. You have the biology or the nature part, and if net annual change in your fish biomass is dictated by the kind of growth you see. You remember orange roughly 400 years. Lifespan, so they grow almost, they don't grow at all if you like, each year, right? If you look at the annual growth. So the growth is important, depends on the fish stock. Some are very productive. There's Capenta in East Africa. This fish, they take about 90-95% of it each year, it just keeps coming back, right? So the growth, and then things come how many new fish, natural mortality, and then fishing mortality. So anyone doing fisheries economic modeling has to have a representation of this in one way or the other. And then the economics is even more simple. Economics, your annual revenue, your net annual revenue is simply your total revenue minus your cost. Every economic model has this in one form or another. We just make it complicated, of course. Simple. So I like to joke that I learned all the economics I needed in grade 3. One of my teachers stood up and said, profit is selling price minus cost price. You remember that? They tell you this in primary school, and that's it. All the things we do is really complications, how to get the economy, how to solve big models. But, yeah. So, next. And I thought we'll have time to play around the figures, but maybe we can do this in the practice session. So R is your profit, P is your price, H is your harvest or catch, C is the unit cost of fishing effort. So how much do you pay to take a boat of a certain size with a certain number of fish for a day or a year, right? That's the C, and E is the total number. So this is just a representation of the economic model. Your net benefit R or your profit R is because of what you make, which is your price and your catch. Take away your cost of catching. So that's it. And we usually use this a lot in economic models. And I say there it's very highly dubious. It's simple, but it tells you something. And this is an equation that comes from this simple model, which is very powerful. So there's a lot of debate whether there's overfishing or not overfishing, right? And when I say that, two people come to your mind, Daniel Pauli and Ray Hillman, right? So there was a meeting of the AFS, of the American Fisheries Society's meeting in Seattle a few years ago. I went there, and my talk is, are we overfishing or not? And I quickly said, we are overfishing. My economic model tells me the simplest model. I don't need any stock assessment to know this. Come and see the room, right? And this is the equation behind it. We don't have time to go, but if you do the calculations at that point where marginal cost equals to marginal revenue, this is the stock level. And when you look at it, solve this, the only parameters in there are the cost, the unit cost of fishing, the price of fish, and your catchability coefficient, which is your technology. The fish biomass doesn't even appear. So if I know the unit cost of fishing, the price people get, and the technology, I can tell you whether there's overfishing or not. Easy. So when you do things like this, first principle, people argue with you, then they go get a big board, they go sample, and then they calculate and get your results. Isn't that nice? so this is powerful. So prediction is zero rates. Overfishing, there will be overfishing if the ratio between your cost of fishing and your price is low, which means your profit margin is high. If your cost while your price is low, one means overfish if there is no management, if there is no effective management. Now we know that there is no effective management in many of our fisheries, right? So this was my talk in Seattle. After that, Trevor Branch came to me and said, Rashid, it's a crazy talk, but actually it was quite nice. so we have fun together. All right. This is the kind of calculation that if we had time, we would do. But the key point is that if you look here, I'm just changing only the price. If the price is $500 per ton, you do this simple model, this is the amount of fish you have in the ocean, about 1 million tons. If the price doubles to 1,000, you go down to half of the fish biomass. If the price goes to 5,000, that is how, just the price. So we had a paper in Science a few years ago about tuna. And the title is, if you live long and you are valuable, you face a double jeopardy, right? If you are tuna, you are in trouble. If you are a big bluefin tuna, huh? So that's the thing. Except if society really works to deal with it. We will overdo it. So how do you fix it? This is what management is all about. So from this simple model, a lot of things happen through time. That is when we started total allowable catches, setting them, gear regulation, limited access, all the things you've heard in fisheries management actually came from this bioeconomic ecology and economics modeling, actually. So those of you who think that your science is not influential, don't think that way from now on. Scientists are very influential. It may take time, but if you do good work, society will argue with you, they will fight you, but slowly reality will settle and they will use your stuff. Okay, guys? That's my advice for you. The key thing is never to give up. Okay? When these models came, they actually led to changes. It takes time and it's a struggle because people don't want to change, right? So, all right. So I'm getting to the last part. All I've said is dynamic. If you want, all I said so far is static modeling. But you have to think dynamically, right? Because fish live in many years. So this is the kind of equation you will find in our bioeconomic models. This is net present value. This is the value, you reduce all that you get through time from the fishery to one number, which is called net present value. And this is how you calculate it. So you have your revenue, you have your cost, you have this thing here called the discount rate, very important in economics. You calculate this through time, and that's that. And then that allows you to compare values you get today to values you get in the future, right? Because $1 to you today is not the same as $1 coming in 10 years. We all agree with that, even if you take out inflation. Because if you get your money, you can do lots of things with the income. I'm a professor, right? Oh, you can invest it and so on. So that's what this is. And this is very controversial, actually. I've spent quite a bit of time. All right, so more stuff here that we don't have time to go through, but it gives you the thing. One point I made in Namibia, which actually got a lot of attention. I went into the country, I was asked to come and give a talk, and I didn't know there was a big policy struggle between diamond miners and fishers, right? So I go in there and I was asked to talk about the value of the fisheries. And I've been thinking about it because almost everybody will tell you diamond is more valuable than fish, right? Diamond is more. So I go in there with the goal of saying this is not actually almost always true. So I started by talking about fish is renewable. If you really manage it effectively, you can take fish forever, right? It's renewable. You take it through time. And mathematically, if you have a little benefit from something that flows through time, if you sum it up, you get infinity. See what I'm saying? So even if you have a penny coming to you each year or each day, it's going to come through time, you are the richest person in the world. See the point? So the diamond, we can fish it out. We can take it out. And then I said, so fish is more valuable than diamond. One, because if you do it well, you can get it forever. Number two, actually, you can take all your diamond money and go and gamble with it and lose everything, right? But at least you get the fish coming each year. So, and I mean, the minister was so happy, my God, because his colleagues always tell, oh, fish, what I talk, it's not valuable. It is. So this is a little bit decision over time. One assignment we could do is actually to play around with discounting if we have time. I'll give you a nice quiz which may help you to become rich as you grow older. Okay, guys? You want that?